I applied for a job here in Pretoria, and I got the job, and 10 days after I got the job, they made us fill in a form, and on that form they asked us what medication we were on, and I put on there I was on ARVs, and the next day I was dismissed.
Gary Olpas just reinforced the South African Airways case in the sense that the court said, you know, it is unfair discrimination and to dismiss a person because of their HIV status, and therefore it is an automatically unfair dismissal. And the sanction that was imposed on the employer as well sent out a strong message to employers.
What we found is that there have been these high-profile watershed cases like the SAA case, which have set the precedent and set the foundations for employer-employee relations around things such as HIV in the workplace. And attached to that has come obviously the legislation. So it's not just case law, it's now legislation. And then there's been a lot of work done around codes of best practice and technical assistance guidelines.
The courts are specifically enjoined to look at documents like codes of good practice, to look at international norms like conventions and recommendations of the ILO in their consideration of discrimination cases, and that gives a context within which the court makes its decisions.
The ILO recommendation 200 has helped us to revise our legal instruments, our code of good practice, our technical assistance guidelines, and that has given implementation tools to what we already have embodied in legislation.
I think government actions, they are now making a difference. I think it's not the same as 10 years ago. There's more new laws and that are coming out that reinforces a protection of people living with HIV.
I was discriminated because when I felt pregnant as an HIV activist, I was asked if I was going to keep the baby, and it was not good for my role that I was playing in my work environment.
You have to start questioning people and say, why are you discriminating against me? What have I done wrong? But most people don't want that because it's just too much. It's invasive in their life.
I think stigma and discrimination still persists in the workplace because of lack of understanding by employers. Lack of understanding around HIV issues, but also lack of interest by employers to understand that HIV, it's not a death sentence anymore.
I think businesses are looking for assistance, and the partnership with ILO and government and you know, civil society brings a good interaction, because businesses need to be guided as to how to formulate these policies, because sometimes it's not that they don't want to, or it's because they need to be guided as to what to include in the policies, and also to be educated about the condition itself, because some employers discriminate not because they want to, but because there's a lack of information and education about HIV and AIDS.
What's imperative for us is that employers make sure that the adherence to labour laws, the instilling of justice within the workplace and fairness within the workplace is absolutely key, because if you're not managing that, you're not going to manage HIV as a risk.
In South Africa, we have 4 trade union federations, so it's not an easy task. But I think to a large extent, the ILO is our preferred coordinator for such cohesion between organised labour, because we see them as a neutral party.
What's so important is that your workplace be used as a community to catalyse changes in beliefs, changes in values, changes in perspective, which then hopefully will then have an effect on the broader community responses as well.